Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. Today we're going to talk about how to spawn ground vehicles. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do this, and it's something that until someone shows you how to do it, it can seem a little complicated and weird. Now, you can't normally spawn ships and ground vehicles in the same place, and what's really frustrating about that is you can't spawn ground vehicles in your ship. So if you're going to take your Constellation, for example, on a little planet exploration journey, you're going to need to get your ship and get your vehicle and then put them together. Now, in currently 3.5.0, there's a bug where when you spawn a ground vehicle, you'll despawn your ship. So you're always going to need a second person to actually pull this off. But I've also come to Levski, where you're also going to probably want another person to help you out, but you can do it by yourself. Now, I've chosen Levski specifically because Levski is one of the only places that you can spawn both the ship and the ground vehicle in the same place. So we'll cover that first. So here we are in the customs area. You'll notice the welcome to Levski. Here's the hangars, right? And this is where we would spawn our ships. If you go behind that, though, right, you see Teach's, which is a ship shop, and you'll see these two elevators that go up to top lobby and airlocks. So let's go ahead and take these elevators up. Now this is the top lobby, so once you take those elevators up, you're going to go ahead and end up here, and once you're up here, this is a place that a lot of people didn't realize existed here, right? We're going to come to these terminals. These terminals, even though they say ship retrieval console, are actually our ground vehicles. So you can see here, I got some cyclones in different spots. We're going to go ahead and grab our gray cat here. It's just like spawning a ship. We're going to wait for it to give us a hangar assignment here, because there are multiple hangars. Garage number 4. Alright, and then from here, we're just going to go out this airlock. Now you'll notice I've got the queue for my Grey Cat buggy, and one of the important things to notice is now notice the queue for my MPUV transport's gone, and that's because it despawned it. So that's an example of, again, you're going to need a second person to stay on the ship you spawn, or to stay on the ground vehicle you spawn, in order to kind of get them back. So over here, here's our Grey Cat buggy. And the different garages are just along here. So you just keep going down this length to find your garage if you're not in this first bay, but almost always you're going to be in this first bay unless there's multiple people trying to spawn vehicles. As a note, if you probably never spawned a ground vehicle, you've probably never started one up before either, Engage Systems is the equivalent of Flight Ready. And then I've found it's easiest to drive in the F4 mode. So from here, we'll just take our little buggy out. Now, like I've said before, it helps if you have another person with you. You can actually land a Constellation right here where I've got this buggy. Right, and where we are, we're on top of Levski right now. So if I drive over here, whoa, what's right here directly in front of us? This is actually the doors to one of the hangars. And these are the other hangar doors right there. So that's what we're looking at. So like I said, from here, if I had another person with me, I would probably land my ship, and then you can just go inside to Levski directly this way. Now, you don't have to request permission to land up here, and there's no fly zone up here. The alternative you can do, and I'll show you a shot here from above Levski, if you're landing a Constellation, like I said, or like a Freelancer or a Cuddy Black, you can kind of fit it right in this space, which means you can land it yourself and run in. You will, of course, need someone to stay on the ship to prevent it from despawning. Again, it helps if you have a friend here because they could just spawn the ship while you're spawning this, and then you guys could meet up. You can also meet, especially if you're doing something more like a 300, or sorry, not a 300, a 600. You can meet on the other side of Levski over here, and that'll just kind of give you a chance to have more space to land. So let's now go look at the other way to do this. Okay, so if Levski's not your cup of tea, the other thing you can do is go down to any of the planet side facility sites that do have a vehicle spawn. You can see here we're at ArcCorp 141, which is my go-to usually, and you're going to want to look for Platinum Bay. Now, Platinum Bay is pretty easy to spot in a couple of different ways. First off, their pads say Platinum Bay. The really easy way to find these, though, is look for the blue tower. A quick little tip for Star Citizen: a blue tower is a vehicle spawn, a orange or red tower attached to a building is the admin, and if it doesn't have a tower, it's a habitation module. So if you go down to places that have multiple buildings, that's the easy way to spot them. So from there, it's just like it was at Levski, though. We're going to just simply go into Platinum Bay and spawn our vehicles. So right here you can see ship retrieval, and down here this is currently a glitch. You cannot spawn ships, so don't be fooled by that being there, but you can see down here at the bottom, here's my vehicles. Now I'm not actually going to spawn them because, like I've said before, in 3.5.0 you have to make sure you have another person with you to stay on the ship, or your ship's going to despawn. But your vehicle will appear right out there. I just really don't want to have to go respawn this thing. A couple other just quick tips and pointers here. You can now land your ships right next to these pads. You can see there's quite a bit of space to do so. It's pretty level and flat, especially over here, and there's not a lot of big rocks to kind of throw you off. In 3.5, ArcCorp 141 got renovated. The Platinum Bay used to be on the complete other side of the camp. It took forever to walk there, and it was surrounded by really big boulders, and you couldn't park next to it. However, I still recommend parking on the pad like I have, and the reason being is CIG has been improving a lot of the ships, and you'll notice the vehicle ramps don't go all the way to the ground anymore, and that's not pushing them off the ground like it used to do. You can still see that sometimes with some of the freelancers, but the reason I say that is the pad is level, and it'll guarantee that you're going to be able to drive your vehicle up onto the ramp. If you park out here in the dirt, your ship may be a little unlevel, and you may have to actually get in and out and kind of find kind of a sweet spot where your ramp will actually be low enough to the ground to get your vehicle on board. And just a kind of final tip for you, like I said, in 3.5.0, there is a bug that as soon as I spawn a ground vehicle, it'll despawn my ship unless a person's on it. The same is true in reverse. As long as someone's in the ground vehicle, you can spawn a ship. The other issue that has existed from before 3.5 that continues to kind of hamper us to this day, when loading vehicles onto ships that have elevators. So this is your 600, your Constellations. If you can get a small ground vehicle, like we'll see with the new Rangers, for example, onto a 300, anything with an elevator, someone has to be in the vehicle with it powered off to raise it up into the cargo hold. Otherwise, it'll bounce around and do all kinds of weird things. If you're loading a vehicle onto, say, a Cutlass Black, you can do that by yourself. You just drive it right on, park it, turn it off, and then get out and close the ramp and then fly away. Let me know down in the comments below, do you guys have some other places you really like to go to spawn vehicles? Is there something I missed that people should know? As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time.